It's time once again to delve into the bargain bin, and no matter where you go or which country you're in, I'd be surprised if S.C.A.R.S wasn't sitting there with many other races and sports games on the N64. Sure, everyone wants Mario Kart 64 or Diddy Kong Racing in their collections, but in Christmas of 1998, new N64 developer Vivid Image and Ubisoft teamed up to release this game in an attempt to carve their own niche just in time for the Christmas holiday market. If there's one thing you cannot fault about this game, it's the concept. Set in the year 3000 when computers have pretty much taken over, supercomputers instead decide to battle one another in virtual races packed with weapons and cars which are based on animals. If you're wondering where the title S.C.A.R.S comes from, well, it stands for Supercomputer Animal Racing Simulator, and if that doesn't make you want to pick up and play this quirky racer, nothing will. While the concept may be unique, the gameplay isn't, and that's not a bad thing. You have 10 different tracks to race on, 9 inspired vehicles, and a multitude of single and multiplayer modes to play through. Like most kart races, the single player mode sees you working your way through the various cups in an attempt to win the league and get the opportunity to go head to head with the boss car in the challenge mode. If you beat the boss, the car is yours to play through. And so this is quite an interesting take on unlocking new vehicles, and it should keep you playing it for quite some time, as the later bosses pack quite the challenge. Of course, while you're racing, you have an arsenal which would give you the option to take down your opponents and battle your way to the lead. The weapon selection, however, though, is a little underwhelming. Sure, you have the classic missiles, magnets, turbos, shields and so on, but your choice of car seems to dictate how effective your attacks actually are. You see, each of the cars have their own set of stats, and so cars such as the Shark, Cheetah and Mantis are all fast in terms of speed, but weak in their actual attacks with weapons. On the other hand, cars such as the Rhino and Mammoth are slow to drive, but their weapon attacks are much more powerful. This can lead to certain races turning into everyone ganging up on the bigger and slower racers, and it leaves everything feeling a little unbalanced. Still though, the animal concepts for the cars are great, and as they all handle so differently, it was fun to take them all for a spin to see which one really suited my gameplay style. Thankfully, all of the cars have jump jets which allow you to dodge incoming attacks and avoid traps which are being placed. If there's one thing which instantly stood out in the game, it was its visuals. From the awesome looking car designs to the bright and colourful tracks, it's fair to say that for its time, S.C.A.R.S was quite a nice looking racer. This is all the more surprising when you see that the frame rate remains rock solid even with lots of action taking place on screen. The night races are a personal favourite because the headlights of the cars gently illuminate the landscape and cast some great looking shadows across the environment. The levels themselves too are a nice blend of locations such as snow, mountain, city and so on. In a nice touch, they also have branching paths which allows you some room to seek out the best route for each course and also avoid enemies if you're way out in front. Some people didn't like how floaty the game felt, and at times I personally can't see why they'd feel this way, but I actually like the way that the cars feel, and I believe it to be a very easy game to pick up and play. If you're looking for a multiplayer racer, I'd still say to stick with Mario Kart 64, but S.C.A.R.S should be able to break up any marathon you may be having. Its multiplayer mode is easy for newcomers as the controls are so responsive and identical to other kart-based racers. The tracks too, they don't require an immense amount of memorisation. It's also fun to play hot potato with the time bomb when you have 3 other friends sitting with you in the same room. But whether playing the game in single or multiplayer, one thing to remember is to turn the sound way down. This is not a great sounding game, and in my opinion it's the weakest part of the package. Now don't get me wrong, the music is actually not bad at all, but having a techno beat in this style of game, it just doesn't seem to work. It stands out considerably and would have been better suited to have been used in another game. The same too can be said for the effects. They aren't all that clear, and the engine noises turn what should be all-powerful animals into household pets. Explosions also go off with nothing but a whimper, and there's very little bass to give the sensation of any impact. But don't let this small area put you off. You can play through it, and S.C.A.R.S actually turns out to be a really enjoyable game. There's plenty of challenge, cars to unlock, and 10 courses which can be played in many different ways. It's an often overlooked title, and in part I believe it's due to the terrible box art, but if you haven't played it and see it going cheap, I wouldn't hesitate to recommend this to anyone. But as always, that's just my opinion, and now it's over to you. Did you play this on N64, PlayStation or Windows PC back in the day? I'd love to know what your favourite animal vehicle was, and if you ever did manage to unlock the Panther car, which was insanely challenging. As always, sound off in the comments section down below, and until next time.